Today on Locked on Rockies, a big day for Antonio Senzatela and the Colorado Rockies. What does his return mean for the rotation? And what does it mean for the Rockies as they look ahead to a tough road trip?
You are Locked on Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked on Rockies podcast for today, the 5th day of May in the year 2023. I am your host of the Locked on Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies tech. What was that? A talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, well, guess what? You're in the right spot because that's what we do around here is we talk about the Colorado Rockies each and every single day. If you want to be part of the show, you can subscribe to the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. You can also find us free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. We've also partnered up with SiriusXM. You can find us on the SiriusXM app. You can also find us with all sorts of great stuff. You can catch the Rockies playing the Mets tonight, and that game is at, that's at 5:10 Mountain Time. So the Rockies play the Mets tonight at 5:10 Mountain Time. You can catch every pitch of the Rockies' hometown broadcast with the SiriusXM on the SiriusXM app. Search Locked On Rockies. All right, folks. Yes, we are early today, Nicholas. You have noticed correctly. I have to cover an afternoon shift today, so my schedule has flip-flopped for today. So that's why we're talking Rockies baseball in the morning. And today, it's a big day for the Colorado Rockies, a big moment for the Colorado Rockies. But before we dive into that, I got to tell you today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. Here is the situation, folks. Antonio Senzatela returns to the Colorado Rockies. And, this is a moment where the Rockies can kind of get a little bit more information on what this means for him and the Rockies and things of that nature. Because I think when we watch Antonio Senzatela pitch, we're going to see a lot of what we've kind of already been seeing, and is clearly the philosophy of a lot of the Rockies pitchers and a lot of the Rockies pitchers that have gone in there. Think Connor Siebold, think Kyle Freeland. Not so much going to blow people away with the strikeout. But he certainly is capable of it. He's gotten triple-digit strikeouts only twice in his career, and through 19 starts last year, he had 54 strikeouts. So one thing for certain, that would be a really great sign of this being a different Senza, a different-looking Senza, or one that's maybe looked to adjust and or make some changes to his pitching style while recovering from the injury. I don't really know how much you can kind of do both of those. It takes a lot of work to recover and also, change stuff about your pitching style. But Senza is going to pitch to contact. This is exactly what we know. We know that this is what he is going to do. He is going to get out there and he's going to hope that batters he's going to induce weak contact, and he's going to keep players off balance and keep them, off the board. This unfortunately has led to a higher than normal career ERA. The best season was the shortened season there during the pandemic. His ERA was over 5 last year. He hasn't been high in win-loss total since 2020 and 2019. Again, the win-loss total of being a type of metric. But when you look at things, he is someone that has plenty of experience and know-how to keep the Rockies in ball games. But just like with everything else, he's never going to necessarily blow anybody away. He's not going to get out there and dominate a game. What he can do for the Rockies, though, especially well, is he can go out and get you innings. He can keep you in games longer. You're going to see hopefully, if things are going well for Senza, you're probably going to see a lot of starts that are similar to the finale against the Brewers. If Senza is inducing as much weak contact, he still might miss a pitch and get tagged for something big, which is kind of honestly the Achilles heel of most Rockies pitchers, especially the ones that pitch to contact. Think exactly Kyle Freeland as well. What's Kyle Freeland really good at? Getting double plays. What happens when Kyle Freeland misses his pitches? Well, more often than not, the ball's hit really hard, really far, and we saw it again from Connor Siebold yesterday as well. I kind of hope, though, the Rockies' last big investment in pitch to contact. I really do hope that the Rockies start looking to blend their rotation that with a little bit of a mix of both. Senzatela and Freeland can be successful. They can be, middle rotation type of guys. Sure, Senza is most certainly fits better in the back half of the rotation. If this rotation was healthy, I wouldn't be putting Senza any higher than 3 at the most in this rotation for sure. But I want the Rockies to look at this current rotation because they're going to see a lot of their pitch to contact philosophy and see that I don't think it's smart to fully invest like this on one philosophy of pitching. The Rockies why German Marquez was such a great asset was because of his ability to strike batters out, his ability to dominate games. I think the Rockies can stick to this philosophy because they have pitchers that are good at it, and especially somewhere where players are going to be hitter aggressive at Coors Field. But it's also, what's better than relying on hits or relying on weak contact? Not letting him hit the ball at all. And that's the issue here that we might face with Senza. Nicholas Delvo points out in the live chat, hopefully he can keep the ball down. Because if he doesn't keep the ball down, that's center cut. Look where the Rockies pitchers who are missing, when they miss, the ones that we've been talking about today, where do they miss? It's center cut. And they are going to get feasted on. It's a risky game, but it works for the Rockies. The Rockies have already turned over 30 double plays again already this season, even with the shoddy start to the season on defense and all the errors. The Rockies pitchers are clearly good at inducing double play ground or getting ground balls to induce double plays. I'd argue Kyle Freeland's one of the best. But we have too much reliance on that. We have too much of the same type of pitcher, and I just don't think that this is the way to go moving forward. I mean, I think why it worked so well for the playoff run was because John Gray and German Marquez were going to strike people out. They were going to keep people off. And then you had to deal with kind of the mix-up of Kyle Freeland and Senzatela, who are going to come in here and, they're going to give you opportunities, but you're going to have to time it right. You're going to have to hit it right. And that's not always going to be the case. I like when the Rockies have a mix of pitchers. I like when it's a variety. I like when teams have to come in and they think that they know what to expect at Coors Field, but they're not because they're going to have to face a different style of pitcher almost every day. Not when we're at this chunk of the Rockies rotation, we know they're going for a pitch to contact philosophy. Now, this season's going to be different, obviously, given injuries, given the pieces on the team. But Senza's return gives them veteran depth, and that is what the Rockies need right now at a crucial moment. Let's talk more about that here, and we'll read a little bit from Purple Row coming up here in segment number 2. But before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends at RocketMoney. RocketMoney is going to help you with this almighty question. Did you discover any subscriptions you forgot about? Well, think about it. Do you remember those things? You remember signing up for all those things? Do you remember everything you've signed up for? Guess what? RocketMoney is going to help you get all that info, everything you need to know about those spending habits in one spot, because RocketMoney is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscriptions for you, and for any you don't want to pay for anymore, just hit cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy. Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finances in one place and automatically categorize your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. Folks, this is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. We're also on the Sirius XM app, where you can find us there for all your Locked On Rockies action. We're also live on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show, just like Nicholas Delvo and Linda Clark today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day. And for all my everyday listeners out there, thank you for doing what you do, tuning in to this wonderful pod. Still on the march to 500 YouTube subscribers. Would love your support there. That's one of the best ways to help the show. One of the best things to help the Colorado Rockies right now is a veteran arm that knows how to pitch at Coors Field and knows what being a Rocky is all about. And that is Antonio Senzatela. Again, we can look at the stats, we can look at the numbers, and certainly there are things to highlight, criticize, but at the end of the day, in a moment where the Rockies were losing just about all of their starting arms, in a situation where the Rockies desperately need someone that can come in and fill an immediate hole in this Rockies rotation, the Rockies get back someone who has been pitching for them for 6 years. This matters. This means the Rockies have someone that they do trust, they do believe in, and do think that has the capabilities to help the Rockies win ball games. This is a much better idea than having to go and find and pluck up an unready MLB or an unready prospect like we were kind of looking at. Not only do the Rockies not have a ton more MLB ready prospects at the minor league level, especially when you're looking at the top end of the Rockies prospects. The Rockies have mentioned some stuff and probably still are looking at some potential free agents or potentially moving things. I'm much more encouraged to see Antonio Senzatela making the start than if the Rockies were to go out and have gotten Madison Bumgarner and signed him to the minimum, for example. Let's take a look here at Purple Row, and let's read from Joel Milholm here. There couldn't be a better time for the Rockies starter to make his 7th season debut. After tearing his ACL on August 18th, he had surgery, rehabbed, and will be back on the hill tonight, 261 days later for the Rockies. This is, again, sensational time for Senzatela's return from Joel Milholm on Purple Row. Let's go back here. Senzatela debuted in 2017 and has made 117 starts since, putting up a 39-42 record and a 4.88 ERA in 672 innings. Since let's see, the Rockies have needed 8 different starters to complete the season in 2022, and this is going to be where the Rockies are certainly back on the same track here. This is where the Rockies rotation started this year. German Marquez, Kyle Freeland, Jose Urena, Austin Gomber, and Ryan Feltner. That means now the Rockies have lost at least 2 of those options, and then when they replace those options with Noah Davis, things get worse. So now the rotation's probably going to look something like Freeland, Senzatela, Gomber, Feltner, and Seabold as well. Oh boy, this is interesting. The biggest interesting part here of this is of Senzatela's piece is this. Senzatela made 2 rehab starts for the Isotopes to prepare for his debut today. His first game was on April 25th when he gave up 1 run on 5 hits with 2 walks and 4 strikeouts in 3 1/3 inning. He got banged up pretty good in his next start, giving up 9 runs, only 6 turns on 8 hits with 1 walk and 3 strikeouts in 3 innings. Senzatela's strength has always been producing ground balls, which he averages 51.5% of the time across his 6 seasons in MLB. The Isotope defense behind him wasn't great, even though the Rockies had their struggles in the field to start this year. It's improved over the last week, and they'll need to be on their A game to help Senzatela post a solid start tonight. Exactly the point there. things with Senzatela can go really south really fast. Look at the dynamics in the shift between, or in the differences between those two rehab starts. It's rehab starts. It's AAA, huge grain of salt. But that's also what you see a lot of Senza. Man, look at that start. Look at that one hit or one run, 3 hits, got some strikeouts, and they only pitched 3 in the third, but you can kind of imagine that. That's a Senza, that's a quality Senza start. Something 6 innings, couple of hits, 1 run maybe, and the defense though doing its thing, backing them up, inducing a couple of double plays. But then, bam, 9 runs. 6 of them earned. And the floodgates can just open. So right now is a pivotal moment, not only for Senza, but the Rockies defense. They have to play as well as they have been playing of late. They have to get better if they want to be able to back up Senza, because Senza's going to need the backup, because they know that Senza's going to want to get ground balls. That's the game. The only thing that you just remind yourself of Senza is exactly what you see in those rehab starts. Great start, bad start. Great start, bad start. Great start, bad start. Will we see the consistency? Will we see Senza be able to, to bring this team a little bit more, quality pitches, quality pitching? Or are we going to get the Senza that is going to get the team down early and unfortunately not be able to miss the bats? And is the Rockies defense going to be capable to back them up? I think they are. I think the Rockies are in a better headspace. I think Senza's return is more of a positive. I think the Rockies are getting better with Antonio Senzatela. I think the Rockies have been playing better ball. But the test is here. The test is now. The test is Antonio Senzatela is returning on the road against a Mets team at home in their ballpark, looking to make some noise, looking to do some damage and turn things around. You can absolutely guarantee that the Mets are going to look to try to feast on Antonio Senzatela tonight and take advantage of every opportunity. So when the Rockies have their pitcher, get them the ground balls that he wanted to and get them that they need, they have to be able to do the little things right and keep and back their pitcher up. Something they haven't always done this year, but something they are showing more signs of. If the Rockies want to continue to show that the beginning of the season was the fluke part of the season and this team is better, no better time than tonight's matchup against the Mets. Go out and make a statement for win number 5, win game number 1, get Senza back in the rhythm as soon as, a little bit quicker, get him back in motion, get him jazzed up and ready to go, game ready a little bit sooner. But they also are dealing, this is it. This is a prove it moment of the season. Obviously it's a can you hang with these type of teams type of moment for the Rockies. And we'll see if they rise to that occasion. But I feel like I kind of spent a lot of time highlighting warning signs of Senzatela. I think the big takeaway from Antonio Senzatela's return tonight is that it is a massive positive for the Rockies. No, he's not a Cy Young candidate. No, he's not, he might not top the leagues, but he is someone that can effectively navigate Coors Field and can effectively keep the Rockies in the ballgame when he executes to the abilities that he knows that he can do. Sometimes he misses, sometimes it isn't pretty, but right now the Rockies desperately need someone like Antonio Senzatela to come back to their rotation, and it is a massive, massive win for the Rockies to get Senza back in. Let's hope, though, that we're getting, like we see that FNL Aviator says, that 2017 Senza when he went 9-0 in the first half of the season. So this is a moment. Senza, this is this could be a turning moment in the Rockies season. I still don't think it turns around enough to really change a lot of the direction. Yes, I still think 100 losses is still on the table, but at least in this solid stretch right now, at least in this feel good moment of right now, at least in the best moments of Rockies baseball in 2023, the Rockies are getting better today with the return of Antonio Senzatela, and I look forward to seeing him pitch again because again, big props. You got to respect a guy that's been pitching and doing his thing for the Rockies for 6 seasons. It's exactly the type of pitcher the Rockies need back in their rotation at this moment in the season. So we'll see what happens to Senza and the Rockies tonight as they take on the Mets here. Big moment for them. I think the Rockies are avoiding Verlander in this series as well. I think I think Verlander just made his debut. So, but again, this is a Mets team that is going to be hungry for some wins after they just got swept by the Tigers, and they certainly do not want to be dealing with 2 teams at the bottom of the league doing the damage against a World Series hopeful. I wanted to take a moment as well to highlight again the importance of base stealing and movement on the bases here from Renee Deckhart's Rockies Pitch newsletter. And we will do that coming up here in segment number 3. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about BetterHelp. BetterHelp is going to help you take care of you, because guess what? It's important to take care of you. It's very important to take care of you. And BetterHelp is going to do that, because guess what? You can spend all that time and effort on everyone. It's great, but you got to make time for yourself. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Yeah, that's right, folks. It's all works around. That's what helps with this. It's an experience that it's for you to maximize an opportunity to take care of yourself. Like I said, entirely online. All you got to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB, BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB to save 10% on your first month. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming service, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast, and here live on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show, just like FNL Aviator, Nicholas Delvo, and Linda Clark. FNL Aviator says this about Antonio Senzatela: I just want us to get in a good rhythm and win some games back and forth. Oh, this is about the team. Because at this point, we all know we will probably not get out of the basement, let alone get 500. That's a good point. I mean, it's make the bad stretches less long, right? Play better ball in between. Lose close games by playing good baseball. Sometimes, you know what? Just like how the game started yesterday, you're going to run into good pitching. You're going to run into a day where your hits aren't dropping, and that's fine. That's acceptable. But errors, lack of fundamentals, striking out in critical situations, lack of energy like we've seen at points for the Rockies, those are the issues. Like we talked about a little bit last week after the Philly, I can't remember which series it was, but before the Arizona series, I think. The Rockies were playing better baseball, even they're losing. But losing close games, hard-fought games is way different, and I'd love to see some more rhythm and consistency. I would agree. I wanted to close out with more notes on this is the future of baseball, folks. This has to be something that the Rockies have to be thinking about, as is every other team's thing. If you want to learn more, Renee wrote more about base stealing for Purple Row, which I want you to go and read the full thing. So it's something that you have to consider here, because I want to just reread the scene that was set for the Rockies here. From again, this is from the Rockies Pitch newsletter from Renee Deckhart that you can subscribe to. Take a second to remember how the game unfolded. Going into the 7th inning, the Rockies were down 4-0. Then Moustakas singles, Trejo singles, and Tovar hits a double, bringing in Moustakas and Trejo. It's 4-2 Brewers. The Brewers change pitchers. Brenton Doyle singles, something that happens only because he's extraordinarily fast and outruns the throw. Then he steals second. In the broadcast booth, Drew Goodman observes Doyle changes things because of his speed. And he did. As Andrew McCalvey, who covers the Brewers for MLB.com, wrote of this series of events, Bryce Turang made a slick stop but couldn't throw out the speedy Doyle. It wouldn't be the last time that Doyle's speed came into play. Tovar scored on a balk that moves Doyle to third, and when Elias Diaz hits a sacrifice fly, the run is certain because of Doyle's speed. The 8th inning is much of the same. Just to be clear, the Rockies capitalized on singles, doubles, sacrifice flies, and Brewers errors in a game where the Rockies hit no home runs. Speed matters. Base running aggression matters. Brenton Doyle changed the entire landscape of those plays because of his speed. Mike Moustakas doesn't score on that sac fly. A lot of Rockies players don't score on that sac fly from Elias Diaz there late in the game. And look at what you generate things. You bust your buns and you get on first, and then you're immediately able to snag second base and create runners in scoring position, 2 of them, immediate threat. The Rockies have to get faster. The Rockies have to get more aggressive on the bases, whether it be stealing, hitting runs. Use the big bases. Use Doyle's speed. If Doyle is on a base, he should be stealing. He should be in motion. It does not matter, because that's how you're going to be able to win ball games like that. That's how you're going to be able to generate offense. A single in the gap or a single with someone that's fast like Brenton Doyle on second after he just beat out an infield single is going to mean that you can score 2 on more hits in there, or be able to score on closer sacrifice flies. The Rockies don't have enough speed to be able to generate that offense with the people that they put out there. Again, look at some of the players that were in there and that could have been running the bases at that point. Stealing bases and speed is an X factor that the Rockies have to increase across their lineup as it continues to look at change, as it continues to reshape, until this team reforms itself into what we know the Rockies are going to look like for a window of time. This is a team that should really emphasize getting players faster, getting players in motion more, especially people that play outfield and Coors Field. If you got speedy outfielders that can play defense and manage there, then why shouldn't they be able to steal some bases and get you moving and get you something a little bit extra? We need to improve there. Being at the bottom of stolen bases in the league is in this season and in baseball going forward is a bad sign and a bad trait to have for your baseball team. You need to be aggressive on the base paths. You need to have speed. It's going to win you ball games. Brenton Doyle's speed was a massive factor in that game yesterday. Speed can kill. It is a very, very, very underutilized thing for the Colorado Rockies. They'll say we have speedy stuff, but you heard it on the broadcast. You saw it pan out. Base stealing, speed on the bases, aggression on the bases, heads up base running are critical to success in this new era of baseball. The new bases, the new philosophies, the new mentalities of base runners, it's getting back to a time where, yes, base stealing is going to be a huge deal. And that's going to mean, you challenge more of these catchers, especially when you have Elias Diaz has been playing some solid defense and throwing people out. You're going to get nabbed, sure. But it is worth taking those risks sometimes when you need to, especially with the way that your offense was, unable to score with runners in scoring position. Be creative, use your speed, use what you have to score runs, instead of just relying on the home run or the big hit. Generation of runs also comes on the base paths. That's my little base running thought, my little thought on what I think is going to be a massive trend going forward here as we continue to see this next generation of baseball, their base stealing. But let me know what you think about base stealing and the Rockies' aggression on the base paths here. Rockies take on the Mets tonight. 5:10 Mountain Time is first pitch, and it's a big one there for the Rockies. Mets, if they lose, will fall under 500, and the Rockies can get win number 5. But again, this is a Mets team looking to do some damage. Who will come out on top? We'll find out this weekend. We'll think we got our schedule in a little crossover episode too with Locked On Mets, so don't miss out on that. Folks, this has been the Locked On Rockies podcast, morning edition. Thank you so much for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming service, also available on the SiriusXM app. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Go make Locked On Buffs, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets your second listen of the day. And until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.